Ever wondered how would you send an email using Python? Well, if yes, then you have come to the right place to find the answer. In order to learn how to send an email using Python, we'll be dividing the entire code into two parts. One would be to develop an email. Second would be to connect to SMTP and send the email. To do this, we'll start with importing two modules. Module 1, which is email.mime_multipart, and the second one, email.mime_text. Now this is used particularly for reasons like converting objects into text, which is mime text, and mime multipart would be to create messages that are multipart, like CC, BCC, to, from. I hope we understand that when dealing with an email, we need to have a from address and a to address. Well, these are the mandatory parts. There are optionals like CC and BCC. Once we are done with this, we need to create a message that would contain a body, and that body should be converted to a text. This would be done by making use of mime text. And finally, we would be attaching this message into the email. To do that, the following code can be used. I'm giving the from address here, followed by a to address, and then I have given CC, and if you wish to have BCC, you could just write to BCC equal to the email IDs that you wish to do it. And observe here, the CC email IDs are all is a string separated by commas. And later on, I have a variable called as toAddrs, wherein I am converting this toAddr, which is this address, into a list. Following that with concatenation of splitting the 2cc. This would make ghi@gmail.com as one element of the list, jkl@hotmail.com as the second element, and mnopq@yahoo.com as the third element. If you wish to have BCC, just include two BCC here and give your email IDs. And finally, you could do the same way as you have done for CC. If you observe the highlighted part, you will see that I'm trying to create an instance of my multipart, which is called as MSG or message here. Now to this message, I'm adding a from address, a to address, a CC, and a subject. The subject could be any static subject that you wish to give. A body would contain any static body that you wish to have. Here, I have mentioned, dear Mr. XYZ, this is a sample code to send email. Thanks, Python. Now this body has to be then converted into a text and attached using .attach method in the instance of message, which we have created here. Now suppose I had a requirement of sending an email with an attachment. I could write a simple code like this. File name is equal to file name which is existing in your system that you wish to attach, then followed by making use of a file function saying file of file name and assigning that to a variable called f. This f could then be read and converted into a text and moved into a variable called as attachment. This attachment will be using a method called as add_header, and then here we'll be trying to add the header with the file name is equal to file name, and this later on will be attached to the message that we have created above over here. Now that the first part of the code is done, which was to develop an email, the second part, however, is connect to SMTP and send the email. To do that, we would import the SMTP library. SMTP, which is Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, is a protocol that handles sending email and routing email between mail servers. So let us begin first by importing SMTP library. Once this is done, we could have the following code that could actually send the email. Let's begin by saying server, a variable which is equal to smtp.smtp. I'm sorry, that was smtp library.smtp. smtp is basically a method that would have variables called host and port. Here we would be giving the name of the host, which is in this case smtp-mail.outlook.com. If you were to use a Gmail, you could have smtp.gmail.com. The port, however, remains same, which is 587. Now, if you wish to have some other host like Yahoo or Hotmail, you could just Google and check for the host name for that particular email provider. The second thing that you're seeing here is EHLO, which is nothing but an extended hello command. This would just go and check if the connection has been established. Following that, you have star TLS, which is nothing but a transport layer security. It gives an extended improvement in terms of security. Then you would see that you are logging into a server with the email ID and the password. Here I've just written a string called email ID and password. You would have to enter your email ID and password here. Following that, you would observe you have text is equal to message.asString. The method as_string returns an entire formatted message as a string. If you observe, this message over here is the same variable that was used here. After that, you would see server.sendMail. The sendMail method would actually send the email, making use of the from address, the to addresses, and the text that you have actually converted into a string. At the end of it, you would quit the server. This would make sure that the connection has been de-established. Now this brings us to the completion of the second part of the code, which was to connect to SMTP and send the email. Now try running this code and let me know if you face any issue. Just make sure that you take care of the following things. Here, the file name should be the file name which is existing in your system. You need to give the email ID and password. You have to take care of the host name over here. If you do this, this should pretty much be enough. And also in the 2cc, just make sure that you have made use of a common string having the email ID separated by commas. Thank you for watching the video. If you have any doubts, feel free to drop me a message on tutorfazil@gmail.com. And finally, if you have learned something from this video, please like the video and subscribe to my channel Tutor Fazil. Happy learning!